Welcome back to the Tailosive EV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am joined with Reich, Nandy, and Mick. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Rue. How are you, Ruing?
Wonderful.
He's
fantastic.
Are you going 260 miles an hour?
Yes.
Okay,
I think
good.
we're going faster
Actually,
than that.
faster if we talk around the sun.
Yeah.
I'm already at Plaid.
You're
going thousands of miles. I'm just playing around with my Apple Car prototype right now, seeing how Apple's planning on making this charging method work.
Me three.
They put. Could you actually, if Apple designed their own charger network, I know this is a joke, but I'm taking it seriously. If they put the connector on the bottom of the car, could you lay it out in a way so that when you drive home, there's just an arm that plugs in when it's parked, and then when you go to a not a supercharger, a lightning, a lightning charger, and you park at Apple's charge network, and just a little connector comes out from the ground. And it
But it wouldn't be
perfectly every
reversible,
time.
Drew. The first iteration wouldn't be
No?
reversible. You couldn't reverse into the spot. The
I would
second
rather
generation
instead
one
of-
would be.
Ooh, I would love MagSafe on a car.
It's this 200-pound metal plate that shocks up
You
to the
get
top.
that animation on the screen
Yeah.
of the car. It does the big circle. No, instead
Wow.
of 30 pin, we're gonna have 300 pin.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds
It's a
about right.
giant connector at the bottom that looks exactly like the 30 pin connector, except it's like 4 feet long.
And you have to get out there and plug it in every time because that makes sense. But Apple has been flip-flopping more floppity flips than a flip-flopper flipping pancakes.
Making pancakes.
Stole the words
making
out of my
bacon
mouth.
Pancakes.
The latest report was,
All right, go ahead.
I can't tell if they're making stuff up at this point or
Yeah.
if this is real. If it is real, I'd be impressed because it sounds like
Stuff
Apple
up?
was so annoyed with Toyota in their talks to try to get the car working with them. They've practically asked everybody, and then Ford poached the lead of the Apple Car project. He was like, I think Ford might actually make a car, so I'm going to leave Apple work for them now.
Ouch.
And makes me wonder if this is real, is Apple that serious about it? Because the headlines most recently were saying, okay, they were so fed up with not being able to find a good partner that they've decided they're going to do it all in-house.
Well,
Going to do it all themselves.
Good luck
Screw
with that,
all the
Apple.
partners.
you know what happens when you have a partner? Remember that iTunes flip phone? Remember the LG display? God, you don't
Remember
want
the
partners.
Bolt?
What? Ew.
You don't want a partner. You want to get married. Okay, that's what Apple should do.
Aww.
How do they tie the knot with a company? Was it Lucid? You buy them out?
I don't know.
You just buy them. You don't marry
Apple's you don't ask. You just do. Apple's biggest f up was not taking Tesla, but I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they did.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't either because
They
Tesla's
still
amazing.
messed up. Yeah, they still messed up
Yeah.
though. But I'm happy that didn't go through.
Okay, guys, I can't believe we're talking about the Apple car when we have a new land speed record for the Nurburgring course. What on earth?
I did see
For
that.
electric production cars, yeah.
Sure, but still.
Yeah. So I just got back. I got a 8-minute and 26-second lap on the Nurburgring this morning.
Okay.
Wow.
Good, good.
I achieved a nice speed of 164 miles per hour top speed. And
My goodness, Mike.
full disclosure, I guess this was on Forza 6.
I see. I almost believed you.
Oh, yeah,
Just
it's
I
for
was
a
like,
second.
I
jet
live in
setter
Germany
Mike
now.
over here. Look out.
I've been in Germany this whole time and haven't told anyone. Yeah, no.
Oh.
There's
What
a
a twist.
2015 P85D Model S in Forza Motorsport 6. Yeah. And so I took it on the Nurburgring this morning just to see what my lap record would be. And of course, it's like a minute past all the other cars.
Right.
But
Yeah, that track is hard in that game. I've played it with you before.
it's tough.
With the Tesla.
Yeah, I think
It's
I
kinda
did on
sluggish.
I think I did on Laguna Seca, but the Nurburgring
Oh,
is
okay.
It's a challenge. I think I cracked the top window of the Model S somehow,
Ooh.
or the roof. But
Sometimes you take those turns a little too hard, the window
Yeah.
just cracks.
apparently, but yeah, very impressive indeed. The ability for this car to, without any modifications, achieve that record of, I think, what was it 735 or 730?
Yeah.
Astounding, and there's no modifications. So it's going to be interesting to see what they add on to it. If it's going to look a lot like the original Plaid prototype that they had, with the with the crazy
Big
ducktail
spoilers.
or the huge spoiler, or if they modify it with the arrow spoiler that automatically actuates up and down. That'd be neat to see again.
Oh, right.
So
yeah.
Tesla, I think, is kind of missing out on an opportunity. If the technical definition of this title is factory vehicle, why don't they just make a line of factory vehicles that have the spoilers and the extra wide wheels and all that fun stuff? Doesn't that make sense?
Probably too complicated in mass production, I'm guessing, and they'd rather
But Tesla needs that
modify
title.
two.
Elon needs the trophy in his jet. That's what he needs.
Yeah. They do seem to care a lot about that. Ever since, I think it all started with the Taycan.
Oh, my
When that showed
favorite
up at the-
EV.
Right, Nick's absolute favorite. But as soon as that started setting some records at the Nurburgring, he tweeted like a day later. He was like, "We'll be there with a special tri-motor Model S, and it'll crush all the records." And since then, that's pretty much what all the motivation was. So, thank you, Porsche, for inspiring Elon. Because
And Randy, obviously you inspired Porsche to begin with.
right, when
You're
they
welcome,
saw
Porsche.
his acceleration boost isn't worth it video, they were inspired. They saw that and changed everything. Oh well.
Wow.
This tickles me.
Yeah.
Neither of you
tickled.
have bought the acceleration boost, right?
Why?
Thank you.
Why would we?
Because you have
Or-
$2,000 that you're either going to put in the toilet and flush down or put it into the car.
I took that $2,000 and I put it back in Tesla stock. I have a better.
And now it's 10 grand. And now you're like, I have this extra 2 grand laying around and might as well flush it down the
It's true.
toilet.
It's kind of like FSD, I'd say. Like if you're buying FSD for 10K and then you wreck the car, then you have to buy FSD again instead of carrying
That
along
is
with the
sad.
car. It's almost like or very much similar with the acceleration package. You
Yeah.
buy it for $2,000,
right.
the car gets ran into by some idiot in a Toyota Helix or something like that. He comes out fine because the Toyota Helix survives everything.
Right.
And you're a mess on the ground, and now you have to buy the acceleration package again. So
Yeah.
I've noticed Tesla in existing used inventory actually activating the acceleration boost on several of the trims to get the
Really?
price up.
Really?
Which I knew they were doing with FSD, but I never saw them do it with the boost. And I was like, why is this one just long range, but it says 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds? I was like, that seems faster than it should. And I looked in and it said acceleration boost. And I was like, I bet the person who traded that car in did not pay for that.
Yeah.
It did not have that feature. They were just like, oh, we want to get the used vehicle prices higher, so we're just going to turn on all the rear heated seats. Whoa. Oh, my God. Acceleration boost and FSD all activated so that we can get you to spend 50 grand on this car with 80,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
they're pulling all
Smart.
the strings right now on their used inventory and new, I guess. Just being able to like up the price to where it's the same equivalent price or more than a new
Yes.
Model 3 or Y or I guess S, except those have dwindled down to very low numbers.
Yeah, the cheapest way to get a Tesla at this point is still buying a brand new standard range Model 3. Like if you go to used, you can't find anything lower than that because everyone's buying them up really fast right now. So it's an admirable business model. I'll agree. It's kind of annoying for us customers because obviously it'd be great if you could just take off all those software things and get the price actually lower. But
You mean build your car from new?
Ooh.
yeah, and wait 6 months.
I had
much.
a really long conversation last weekend with my wife in regards to Cybertruck and
Ooh.
the Ford Lightning. And
No.
What do you mean no?
No.
Wait.
No.
Don't try to anticipate.
Let him finish.
Okay.
Don't try to anticipate.
Randy, just
I don't need you
finish on me,
texting her
please.
right now at work saying, "How dare you?" Like, just let me
Randy
tell my
followed
story.
me last
dimensions,
week and
Nick.
got a F-150 Lightning.
Yeah. So I know Mike knows this
Charges via
because
lightning.
his wife and my wife have the same brain, so everything I'm about to say is completely already heard. But so there are certain concerns about the Cybertruck with the delay, not knowing what the final version looks like, what the price increase may very well become for the tri-motor. So the conversation then pivots to range at a towing max capacity, and
Yeah.
she goes, "Is 1,000 miles really what Ford is saying?" And I said, "That's what they're saying."
Not 1,000. Hold on. I got to stop you for a second. Where'd you get 1,000 miles?
The internet.
You
Yeah,
are
what do you
on the
mean by
internet right
1,000?
now,
Where's
Randy.
this 1,000 coming from? Like, was in
I don't know where
relation
that
to-
number came from.
Oh, well, it's okay.
1,000 miles of.
Wait, the number. Honestly, the number is irrelevant because that's not the point I'm getting at. The point
Okay.
I'm getting at is that Ford is saying with their maxed out configuration, okay, not the camper version or what, the one that gives you all that torque. They're like, oh well, here's what the range looks like with this, that. Where
1,000 pounds. Is that where the number came from?
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
That part's not irrelevant.
Okay.
We were talking about price to range ratio. That's her concern.
Yes. Right.
And when we were talking about Ford possibly making it to market first, based off of just everything that we're seeing,
Mhm.
she was like, "Am I wasting my time with the Cybertruck?" And I was like, "No," because
Okay, thank you, Randy. Whew. Okay.
Definitely not.
yeah, no. I
Breathe in
said
again.
no. I said regardless, we should wait, which she's in camp for waiting anyway. But I told her that, like, let's say Ford doesn't meet their number expectation, but still somewhere further than the worst, like the cheapest entry of it. We're looking at numbers that are being presented as they're presented today, and Tesla historically has always passed their range number. So with 500 being the tri-motor for what 80,000, 70,000, for the number they're saying
69.
60. Okay, so 70,000, 70.
It'll
for
be more.
Yeah, it will be more, and that's what we're getting at. I was like, you're looking at trucks. If you wanted to get the electric version of that anywhere else, whether it's Ford or any other place like that, those prices are almost like starting prices for those guys, and they well go above into six figures if you try to get the maxed out version. So if you want to get a maxed out Cybertruck versus a maxed out Ford Raptor, or an F-150 if you want to try to stay within that same size, or an F-350, King Ranch, like those things they start in the 80s before you start adding all that extra stuff on. So if we saw a price spike happen for the tri-motor, which I'm betting on, I also suspect we're also going to get well above 500 miles of range based off of what they were saying now almost 2 years ago. Now we're talking all these advancements within the battery cells and everything that's being adopted and rolled out for all the other vehicles. You're looking at progression of tech. This is where the tech side, I told her, like, don't think so much vehicle-wise, and I'll start thinking tech. The tech improves over time, and they're always working on trying to perfect their batteries to just make it more energy efficient with the range. So her mind did not change. One of my family members' minds, though, was like, I kind of think I just want to get the Ford then. If we're not getting the Cybertruck on the range at the time frame we were kind of expecting, and Ford comes out first, then I might as well I might just try the Lightning then, because why not? The Ford will make it, and maybe it's just there's gonna be. He had a whole. His takeaway was completely reversed. He's like, oh, okay, well then I'm gonna get the Ford. Now, wait a minute. I go, wait, show your work. How did you get to Ford from all that? He's like, because Ford will launch first, and I want a truck now, and whoever gets me the truck first, that's the one I think I'm gonna go with. I was like, oh, have you heard of Rivian? And he's like, no. And I was like, yeah, they're probably not gonna launch either. But still, I'm just saying other people are trying to launch.
As they released their EPA numbers last week.
Yeah. No, it is September. They've got 20 days to go at the time of recording this. Hopefully, first deliveries. But those are launch edition deliveries, so that wouldn't be. If you haven't ordered one yet, you're probably not getting one for about a year or more. Kind of similar situation with the Lightning, though. If your relative hasn't ordered one currently, I believe they have over 130,000 orders, and I don't think they're going to have the production capacity to meet that in the first year. Maybe the second year, but
I think he did.
Yeah,
I think he did order. He's a Ford guy. That's the thing. He's a Ford guy, but he loves what Tesla's trying to do.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like my brother-in-law. Could never say a bad thing about Tesla, but he just loves Ford.
He loves Ford. He's that like, oh, I love American branding, this the whole thing. And I was like,
I love my American cars being built in Mexico.
Right. That's what I was like, you know that the factory.
It's North American. They're North American cars, true.
But then he's like, but the Lightning's going to be built in Detroit. I was like, yeah.
I shouldn't say that. Mexico is in America, technically, so.
Mexico
in the Americas
is just Southern California. All of it. Even the Texas side is still Southern California.
I think Mexico takes offense to that comment.
Well, you're right. California and Texas and all that is probably more Mexico than they are America, based off of the history.
Me, Mike, and Nick are all in places that used to be part of Mexico. So
agreed.
This is true. Randy, you used to too as well. Yeah.
Well,
no hate towards Mexico.
I can literally see Mexico from my porch. So you know.
Yeah.
So in regards to the ordering of the Ford Lightning, yeah, he's excited for it, and he's only, I think, because he acknowledges his bias. He's like I like Ford trucks, and he's just Ford truck or nothing kind of guy, and he acknowledges the bias of it, but he was for the longest time so ecstatic about Cybertruck. He's like, oh, this thing's gonna come out. Oh, I can't wait to see it, because he's a truck guy and he likes things, the American brand. America's strong, Ford's tough, and that whole thing. He's that guy. And now that the Lightning, his takeaway from the whole thing I was talking with Brittany about was Lightning's coming out first. He goes, oh, well then I'm just gonna keep my order for Lightning, and if I get that first, then I'm just gonna cancel my Cybertruck. I was like, which one did you get? He goes, I got the tri-motor. Yeah, I did a whole thing.
Okay, that's good.
Keep both and just see what happens.
If range doesn't matter, if range doesn't matter too much, I will agree that the Cybertruck is still, if you're not road tripping much, the Lightning's pretty hard to beat, because it's allegedly starting at $40,000, and then it still qualifies for the federal tax credit. I say allegedly because the Mach-E started at $43,000, but I've never seen anyone be able to buy one for $43,000 because of either dealer markups or the only ones they built and had available were the higher trims. But that option will be pretty cheap. And shout out to Marquez for doing the EV road trip video. But he showcased a lot of the issues with taking the Mach-E on a road trip and all of the several 3 or 4 stations they stopped at that were not working, that the Mach-E was telling them to go to, and it was by far dead last, like hours behind the Tesla, and the Tesla was less than an hour behind the gas car, which I was actually pretty impressed with. On he said per 1,000 miles of road trip, the Tesla takes an extra 90 minutes.
Interesting.
Which is not bad, and I'll add on to that subject of the video that the Tesla did all that without pumping carbon monoxide into the atmosphere and did it for cheaper.
Wait, does the Mach-E do that?
If you're just talking about time, no.
Okay.
I don't think so.
What?
The gas car does.
Oh, okay.
He did a road trip with a gas vehicle, Plaid Model S with the 21-inch rim, so the actual range was 348 or something. So you could get that range on a long-range Model 3 or Model Y or whatever. And the Mach-E, because of all the charging issues, had to go in different directions, and they would stop at several places, and they weren't working. So that's why I would still hesitate to recommend pretty much any Ford EV until they get their Charge Pass network more stable and reliable. But if you're just the weekend warrior type, you're just driving your pickup truck around town and that type of thing.
He's a coder for like Chase Bank, works from home style, and I was like, wait, why?
So he needs a pickup.
So I'm like, why even buying a new vehicle? He's like, he basically said, because I got all this money and I don't know what to do with it.
That's
So
a
pickup
tough
of all.
problem.
He goes like,
I hate that. I can help him out with that if he needs
I was like, hey, do you need help?
assistance throwing
Like,
money away.
I'm looking for I'm looking for a VC to help with this idea that I have. He's like, no. I'd rather have my toys. He's the type of guy that every weekend he wants to
All
go
right.
out on the lake. You know, he's a stay-at-home bored dad. So I'm like, all right, working from home. All right, cool story, man.
Fair enough.
He's like, cool.
The tri-motor Cybertruck is definitely going to be a different beast, though, in terms of range and acceleration.
I asked him, would he sell his Ford Lightning, assuming anybody would want to buy it used then, which I think maybe they would. Would you sell and just offset the cost and get the tri-motor? And his whole thing is that he doesn't have an opinion about the Cybertruck until there's actual announcements and stuff like that. And the way he sees, like, you know, the Lightning is further along than Cybertruck. So right now, I don't. In my mind, the Cybertruck is still a concept and it doesn't exist. I was like, oh, it does exist. I touched it, and he's like, yeah, that one exists, but not the one that I put my money towards. So he's like, we'll see. He's a believe it when I see it kind of guy.
Lightning's in the same department.
That's what I meant. But this is where he acknowledges his bias, and he's like, yeah, but you know, Ford's
I
gonna
think
make
there's
it.
like 3 or 4 prototypes probably in total.
Sure.
I just wonder what it weighs after finding out what the Rivian weighs. It's like close to 7,000
what does the
pounds
Rivian
curb
weigh?
weight. Close to 7,000 pounds.
Are we
Really?
talking about Cybertruck?
No.
Rivian.
The Rivian.
No. But what you said you wanted to figure out what weighs what.
Oh, I want to figure out what the Lightning weighs.
Oh, okay.
Because it's bigger than the Rivian, and you have to go under a different class of pickup truck after you exceed a certain weight. I've heard people say that
That's a good point.
Class 2B is after the vehicle weighs like 8,500. Well, it's Class 2B unless it weighs over 8,500 pounds with a payload and stuff. So basically, the higher the weight, the more you limit your total payload capacity, unless you want to start dipping into the higher class of pickup trucks. But I tried to research that. I couldn't find much that changed. I was like, why don't you want to be in a higher class? What's the disadvantage? If anything, I saw an advantage, because if you can surpass a certain weight, you can write it off all at once as a work vehicle, which is, I guess, what a lot of people were excited for with the Cybertruck, where they were thinking that if it weighed over 8,500 pounds, they could you don't have to depreciate, like write off a portion of it over time each year. You can write off the whole thing because it's considered like farm equipment after a certain point or something like that. I don't know if the laws will change for EVs though, because that weight will be achieved a lot easier. Like the Hummer EV is 9,000 pounds. It's crazy, but
Hummer still finds a way to just completely go against logic.
yeah, you're not buying a Hummer for efficiency.
No, even on the EV side.
No, it's going to be the worst EV in terms of efficiency, I think, of all time.
Yeah.
Right now, Rivian's up there, but I think that's to be expected with electric pickups, at least. But
I'm still.
do you have a
I'm
guess on?
I'm rooting for Rivian until in 20 days. I'm still going to be optimistic because I need to still have faith in something. So.
Have faith in something being. Yeah, we can't say it's on schedule at this point. But
Right.
did you have a prediction for the Cybertruck weight, Mike? Did you put much thought into that, or?
No, I've got none right now.
Okay,
But
fair enough.
It is interesting seeing all the details coming out of Rivian right now. It seems like we've been waiting for a lot of these, especially like the EPA rating.
Right.
It'll be very interesting to see what EPA ratings come from Ford, and then I guess eventually the Cybertruck. I guess the GMC will come in eventually, or at some point between all those. Still, does anyone know when that thing's supposed to come out?
I thought they said end of this year, but everything's delayed now, so
It's in 2 weeks,
I
Mike.
don't believe it. Yeah, we're on GM time.
I'm on Elon time, so we're going Plaid Model 9 at 2 weeks speed.
2 weeks speed. That'd be funny if with the speedometer in the Tesla, if it got down to 0, it just said 2 weeks.
That needs to be a thing. That needs to be a thing.
You go like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2 weeks. They could totally build that into the code.
Just like a little Easter egg for just one update. I love that.
That is
I guess it would just say hold, huh? Oh well.
Which is the same as 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I got into a lot of disagreements about the Cybertruck weight because I've met a bunch of people that think it'll be under 5,000 pounds, which I think
that's
is insane.
That's cute.
The Plaid Model X is 5,400 pounds.
Yeah, that's
and they're
cute.
saying
that's made out of
longer
mostly
range,
aluminum.
bigger truck, all steel, tailgate ramp, built-in air compressor, the vault cover, over 500 miles of range, same powertrain, and it'll be less weight.
I'm still saying we'll be lucky to get it under 10,000 pounds. It'll be a heavy truck.
Wow.
It'll be a heavy truck.
There might be some
different
benefits
direction.
between a endoskeleton with the body on frame versus a exoskeleton with just material inside.
Right.
There probably is some weight savings there. I wouldn't know what it is. I haven't done the calculation, but I would think there's definitely. I mean, Elon said himself during the Cybertruck event, it's it's extraneous material that is on vehicles currently. It's a very old tradition of body on frame, where if you want to make a tough vehicle that is capable of doing multiple things while also being gesundheit, I guess. That is capable of doing all that while also not being a tank necessarily in regards to like weight. Exoskeleton is definitely the answer, though I don't know what the third option would be if you wanted to do an exoskeleton but also a endoskeleton or body on frame.
That's the Hummer, I'm guessing.
It's both.
The body is just insanely heavy for no reason. It doesn't actually help at all. It's just heavy. But yeah, that was the most common response I was getting is people are like, structural pack, exoskeleton, that allows for them to save a ton on weight, and the Model X is just using a very dated body on frame design. It's not a structural pack. In fact, it's the 1865 cells, so it's particularly dated. But yeah, that's probably the strangest comment. I went back and watched the Cybertruck unveil to make sure, because during that keynote, Elon did say that the Cybertruck was about the same weight as the best-selling pickup, which was the F-150. And I'm like...
Again, that's cute.
Yeah, things
Do you think Elon's wrong, Nick?
Yes, I'm very sorry to say Elon is very wrong. This vehicle is going to be so heavy. Just the steel, they're using cold-rolled steel. Did they give a millimeter thickness on stage? I don't recall.
No,
but it's
they
probably
did.
going to be, I don't know, between 2 and 3.6 millimeters, somewhere in there. And that stuff is heavy. Heavy.
So are body-on-frame designs, though.
Yeah, but they're made out of aluminum, and the weight difference between aluminum and steel is crazy.
I don't think the bottom frame is aluminum, is it? I thought just that exterior panels were aluminum.
Yeah. So, like, obviously there's composite components, but the most part on a body-on-frame, the frame is going to be steel, but it's not as large, and the body is lightweight aluminum, very thin, lightweight aluminum. And this whole thing is going to be sheet steel that's folded. Like, it's going to be so heavy in
Starship
comparison.
steel.
And that's
So
what
you
I'm
should
trying.
know-
I was trying not to use that word in this show because I feel like last time we started talking about SpaceX, we're going to talk about SpaceX again. Yeah, it is
all
so heavy. The Starship steel comes in these big rolls, They're not huge. They're I don't know, about 6 feet in diameter, but it's just rolled steel, just a big roll of steel. 10 tons. One semi-truck can only carry one. So you got this huge 50-something foot flatbed semi-truck with one little 6-foot roll of steel in the middle of it. And you're like, wow, this stuff is
But how many
heavy.
exoskeletons could that one roll make?
Yeah.
I mean, probably like 10 or so, but it's
10?
I don't know. I'd imagine so. Yeah.
I just imagine a
Pretty
little
long rolls.
origami cut out like a piece of paper
Yeah,
worth
yeah.
of steel, and you just fold it up into the
I know.
exoskeleton.
Yeah. I'd imagine the exoskeleton's going to weigh about a ton, just in the exoskeleton.
Wow.
And then you'll have the battery pack, which is for the long range one. We know this vehicle is not going to be power efficient, so it's going to need a huge pack. That's going to be heavy. So I don't know what a weight is on that, but probably at least another 1,500, maybe 2,000 pounds, something like that, maybe more. Who knows? And on top of that, you'll need, all the rest of the stuff that makes a car. Oh, the windows, those are heavy. It's not a light
they're
car.
armored glass,
it's
too.
not a light car. And as I don't want it to
No.
be. I'm thinking probably between 8,000 and 10,000 pounds will probably be its curb weight.
Wow. Well, do you think... I'm predicting Cybertruck will be most efficient electric pickup, even though it's not the smallest. I do expect it to get better efficiency than the Rivian, better efficiency than the Lightning, which will probably be terrible as well. But do you think... Let me ask you that, Nick. Do you think the Cybertruck will be the lightest electric pickup?
No. I mean, maybe the $40,000 one. To me, it's just...
Oh.
To me, it's the size. This truck is huge. It's extra wide. It's extra long. The Rivian is, the size like a Tacoma or something like that? Like, pretty small.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Someone got a picture of it parked right next to one. It's like a bit taller, but yeah. It's
So,
pretty close.
I think the title to the lightest pickup is going to go to the smallest pickup. If Ford makes the Ford Ranger electric, they're going to get the title of the lightest pickup truck. But as far as between Ford, Rivian, and the Cybertruck, I think obviously Cybertruck's going to be the heaviest, just as the biggest. Like, it's the biggest. It's going to be heavier. It might be more efficient. I don't know. Maybe Tesla can mess around with the batteries and the battery chemistry and the motors and make sure that everything's all efficient. And also the drag coefficient is pretty low, from what they said on stage. If that ends up being production level, then great. But I don't know. It'll be heavy.
It definitely looks like the most aerodynamic out of all the pickups that have been announced.
Mm-hmm.
It's as close as you can get to that teardrop shape while still being a pickup truck. All the other pickups, of course, just look like normal pickups, so aerodynamics is kind of thrown out the window. Who cares? It's a truck. It's got to look like a truck. But I do think it'd be fascinating if Elon ends up not being wrong, and the exoskeleton and the structural pack ends up being a huge, tremendous weight savings, and they're able to get the weight. I think under 5,000 is ridiculous, but under 6,000 would be impressive. That way you could have a specs basically at a price point that literally could not be matched unless someone did the exact same thing with their pickup truck, which I think is kind of genius. I think that would be really impressive to be like, so we can get the weight down, which means our payload can be higher, which our price can be lower because our batteries don't take up as much space, and we're just being more efficient overall. If they can achieve that, then every other pickup truck is just always going to be behind in specs without, of course, the company going bankrupt or losing money on each model sold. So I hope they can do it, but
I'd say the
Nick is the
Cybertruck has it
steel
where it
expert.
matters in regards to utility and capability, right? The thing can lean down for getting up into it if you want to get a quad into it, or if you're, I mean, in my instance, I have to take my garbage cans to another place, or I need to load up a whole bunch of boxes. I fold down the tailgate and then walk on in, and the truck is basically lurching for me. Similar to that, it's got a whole bunch of space in it. I'm sure it's going to have a whole big frunk and trunk, and hopefully it's got the side compartments that they briefly showed during the event back in 2019. But along with all of those, like, just having a tonneau cover as well built in, whether it's solar powered or not, is something that the competition isn't offering. So yeah, it might be a little bit heavier, but that doesn't mean it's lesser of a truck in regards to what it can do. I'd easily take a heavier. I'd take a heavier Ford F-150 Lightning if it had a automatic tonneau cover, or if it could lean itself a bit. I think that's worth it, or at least worth my dollar.
I'm not going to get the Cybertruck unless it has a drain in the frunk, so I can put my cooler right there.
That's crucial. That's a must.
Absolutely necessary. And I'm sure that drain is going to be what's going to push it over the 10,000 pound limit, but it'll be worth it.
For sure. I guess the real question is, what's more efficient, the Hummer EV or the Tesla Semi with a fully loaded trailer? It's kind of hard to tell.
Pound per kilowatt per hour, or unloaded?
Energy consumed per mile.
Tesla
miles
Semi.
per gallon equivalent.
But do you want to factor it in by pound of weight, like cargo transported?
No, just the empty Hummer versus fully loaded Semi, which uses more power. I think the Hummer will consume 4 kilowatt hours per mile.
No. I got some leak specs on the GM Hummer. It's going to be 1.21 gigawatts per mile.
Calm down, Doc Brown.
Where we're going,
it's just
no roads, Marty.
Powering a time machine everywhere it drives. Consumes so much energy. Oh, well.
So does my emotional status. Consumes so much energy. Yeah.
Alex talking about his
deep
emotional
deep
energy
thoughts
consumption.
With Nick. This is
It's going to be interesting, though, as a feature that's coming out soon in regards to measuring your efficiency in the car, is waypoints with Tesla.
Oh, right. We got our 2 weeks notice on that.
Yeah, again, another 2-week notice.
Right.
Elon's just a landlord, I guess. But yeah, he did say very strangely that I thought was really interesting is someone was asking him about the Model S in track mode. And he responded with, oh yeah, track mode's coming along with waypoints as well in the next 2 weeks. And then commenting on it saying, haha, I know.
He knows the meme, but he still is pushing it.
Yeah, which
Still
is exciting to me. I mean, if it's coming to users like me and Randy who don't have the beta but get more capability through an update like waypoints, I'm ready for it. I'm interested to seeing how it's going to handle any trip. Like if I say I'm driving from here to Fremont factory to wherever else. It'll be interesting to see, like, at this point you'll have an estimated 60% with being used, maybe 43 kilowatts or something like that, and then you'd have this much to get to the next location, and it's going to take you this much time, maybe. Just the interface. Yeah,
there's a lot of estimation it has to make.
Yeah, even just going from A to B, it's already a lot of estimation from my experience. So taking that to the next level of multiple locations and multiple destinations, and then having to consider traffic and weather and everything else like that. I'm not too sure how accurate the final destination range estimation and time are going to be.
Sure.
Which is a bit concerning.
Yeah, Marquez did bring that up on his road trip as well. He was mentioning that the Tesla was always overestimating how many miles it had left, whereas the Mach-E was pretty spot on. And I think that's because there's a lot more. The Mach-E has a pretty big battery pack for its estimated range, which means that the weather conditions and aerodynamics don't impact that EPA number as harshly as it does with the Tesla, because the Tesla is hitting its numbers by all these perfect conditions aligning between, low drag and good weather and right amount of regen, and it can score really high in the EPA, but Mach-E was getting closer to like a true 300-mile range instead of a estimated.
Every time I do a road trip, even this past weekend, When I get to the point where I have to make a stop to charge, I always like it. It puts me in this. It puts me in this pickle where I'm like, I think I can actually go a little bit further, maybe. Every time
There's a buffer.
Every time I commute, I pull up Apple Maps and I use the Tesla map, which is using Google server, and the Apple Maps has always been more consistent than the Tesla one. The Tesla one will say, I will get there with these miles at this time with this much battery. Apple Maps says, minus the battery part because it doesn't know, but you're going to get there at this time with this distance. I'm like, it's the same route, but it's giving me two different times and two different, like, how many miles. And so it could be off by, like, it's more commonly it's off by, like, 5 miles, which then kind of computes to somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, where I've seen it actually drastically change to more like 10 miles. And when I'm driving and I have to make these stops to charge, that does make all the difference based off of where I'm going to be stopping in the commute and how I'm driving. Apple Maps has always been more accurate for me, and it was something that I experienced again. Even this past weekend, I was like, oh, there it is. And I actually ended up stopping. I thought I could make it home. Hey, it told me I was going to make it home. Tesla said, you're going to make it home with 3%, and you'll be able to charge. I know, Mike. I know.
It's cutting it close.
And I know. And Apple Maps is saying, no, actually, it's going to take longer to get home. It's right here. And when I was doing the number crunch, I'm like, I won't make it home. And so I panicked, and I ended up stopping like in the next major city before the final stretch. And I'm glad that I did, because the truth was somewhere in between Apple Maps and Tesla, but Tesla was way more often than Apple's, because inclement weather was a factor as well. Rerouting, because there's a lot of road construction that happens at night. So rerouting was also a factor, and 3%. At its best, it told me I was going to make it home in my garage to charge at 0%, and I said, absolutely not. So then when I juiced up a little bit longer prior to leaving, it's like, all right, you'll be home. You know, I stayed an extra 10 minutes. It's like, now you're going to get home at 3%. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to me at all. So no matter how long I was staying at the Supercharging, and then I stayed like, we stayed about another total like 25 minutes, and it was like it only gave me a 3% to 5% range difference. I was like, this speculating is too range anxiety inducing for me. So I've tend now to what I really believe is I'm just gonna trust what the real time looks like when it's coming with Apple Maps so far, but it's too close. It's too close. I'm like, Brittany wasn't happy. She goes, next time we're just going to take my car or something, because this is too scary.
No. And actually hold the steering wheel? What? That's so much worse. I would much rather not do that. That's disgusting.
Man, I got to touch the steering wheel more. One of these updates I got, one of these stupid updates changed the touching wheel policy by a lot. It is always boop, 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 boop. Like, yes, I'm sorry, I'm touching it there. I'm always touching it. And
it's all the people abusing the software that get all uppity about paying attention.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling the effects of it, and it sucks.
Yeah,
it's kind of a.
I did a mental count the other day of how long it was taking my car to tell me grab the steering wheel and jiggle it a little bit, or at least apply some torque, and it was about 25 seconds. So
Hmm.
Do you notice the eye tracking thing working at all?
Not happening yet, because I would look where I was testing. Yeah, like I said, I was testing it the other day. I'd look to the left, still of course having a little bit of side eye where the camera couldn't see, but I could see.
Let's test this feature.
I'll be that one dude in the bay. I'll just jump in the back and I'll be like, all right, I have my little chauffeur taking me around.
Let's wreck my chances of getting the beta.
Yeah, basically. And no, I don't think it's rolled out, at least for me yet. but I really hope it does, because like Randy said, it'd be nice to not get so many warnings, because we're attentive.
Because
we're watching. Just I don't know.
I don't believe it's supposed to replace the hand on the steering wheel thing. It's supposed to work in conjunction with it.
Yeah.
So like, even if your hand was on the wheel but you weren't looking, it would notice and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
I've been thinking about this during, like, I always find myself in a situation where I go like, oh, okay, this feels appropriate. I don't think I can be on board with a steering wheel-less Tesla.
On board with it? In what way do you mean?
Like he'd never get on board it.
No, I don't think I can ever
Ride one?
I don't think I can ever comfortably own one.
No, you wouldn't own it. That's the thing. You couldn't own it.
Well, okay. While I'm trying to be like this and not touching the steering wheel, and I just have FSD going, I trust Tesla knows what it's doing with the lanes and all that stuff.
Right.
But there are so many, I almost said a bad word, idiots on the road that do not care.
The I word. Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't be driving. I can't be in a vehicle that can't take control of this situation where human logic says to slightly drift to the left a little bit, still staying in the lane, but Tesla forces me right back in the middle where this car's about to hit me because he's driving like an idiot. So, people don't care when they're on the road. It's so frustrating and it's these semis too. These sucking semis are driving with heavy loads that are completely like they got wide load, and they're driving so aggressively because they can, because it's a 2-lane road or something, and they say, I don't care what you're doing, I need to get to my destination and I can't move around it because I'm in a 2-lane road. Oh, it's so mad, because it's like in a sense that if this car was driving itself fully, like, I can't feel comfortable at all hoping that like the car might try not to hit me when they're like, I don't care, not my car. Not my commercial vehicles, whatever. I'll let insurances deal with it. When I used to work with Geico, doing insurance claims and stuff like that, I dealt with a lot of commercial vehicle accidents, and the people, when I had to do like the investigation and take reports and stuff, the guy would be like, "Yeah, no, well, he cut in front of me. I didn't stop, but he didn't use his blinker, so whatever." I'm like, "Hey, man, you do know that you're probably, you're at fault for this." Yeah, whatever. My company's gonna take care. Like, they have this I don't care mentality, and like, you could, this is gonna hurt your license. Like, nah, it's gonna be fine. I don't care. Yeah, the company's gonna take care of it. They'll take care of the fines and stuff like that. And I noticed that that's a very reckless mindset that a lot of people share. So, being in a vehicle that doesn't have a steering wheel makes me have to go to the bathroom.
So you're saying you'd never ride in a robo-taxi?
I don't know.
Because if you're saying you wouldn't buy one, I don't think that's a problem you need to worry about. Because if they existed, Tesla would make far more money owning them themselves and renting them out per mile than
buy
they would
one
selling
as in
them
like
to
I
people.
don't buy one as in like robo-taxi, or as in even experiencing, obviously in the best conditions everything seems fine, but these rural roads that I now have to experience suck. West Virginia is not a nice place.
Randy.
Country road.
Randy. You have
Take
not
me
seen
home.
Highway 4 to Starbase. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Listen to me. I live in a really crappy place.
Yeah.
No,
Listen
let
to
tell
me.
you.
I live in the Bay. I get cars doing this all the time, right on the median, right between the exit
I don't
and the
know, like,
on-ramp and the off-ramp.
Is it the safety you're worried about in those circumstances where people don't care, or is it the liability? Because in that case, you wouldn't own the vehicle.
It's not the liability. It's the ability to take control. Like,
okay.
I'm not saying big changes. Like, let the car know that it needs to move over just a little bit, even if that means going over the line a little bit. and act. I need the car to act more human. It can't just. Yes, by the law of the land, you're supposed to have your blinkers. You're supposed to yield to pedestrians. You have all these laws of the land, and you're also supposed to do the speed limit. That is not life, That's just.
Well, I don't think the beta acts that way, though, from what I've seen. Like, it's a lot of people have described it as driving fairly human at different intersections, and it does the California stops, and it creeps forward to check for visibility, and if something comes over, it'll swerve out of the line. It goes over the speed limit and all that.
I don't see a lack of lawsuits then also pending for Tesla then. Yeah, people will be like, look at this.
There could be all kinds of lawsuits for them. I'm just saying it would do whatever the safest possible thing is in that circumstance.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like I hope that's the case, because how it performs now in my limited tech AI range that I get with my car, it sucks. It sucks because I have to at this point I'm like, then screw it. I'm just going to put cruise control and I'm just going to move the wheel myself and just brute about how I have to basically still drive instead of sit back and enjoy my lavish first world problems.
So I guess here's a good question for all of you guys. Do you think since full self-driving has been in beta, or not beta, but labeled as full self-driving for the past few years, do you think after we pass the singularity where beta 10 is amazing and we have all of the fixes and it drives just like a human, do you think a lot of people are going to have Randy's perspective where they go into full self-driving beta 10 or, the public release of said beta, and they say, oh, full self-driving didn't work, for the past 5 years, so I'm not going to, or 3 years, I'm not going to trust it to, do much. And they're going to kind of be extra critical of it because they remember how it used to be, not how it is in the future. What do you think about that? Mike, specifically.
Well, I'd say it's kind of a factor of a few things. Listening to Randy's complaints, or at least skepticism, it's understandable, right? Through the lenses of what we see right now in full self-driving, it's tough to try to say, okay, it's going to get a little bit better, which means it'll be completely safe and you don't have to worry about your own life and also the liability of your own vehicle unless it's a robo-taxi that you are basically Ubering with. In regards to it meeting the singularity or just becoming an amazing product where it drives like a human, or at least drives maybe not like a human, because the description that Randy gave, driving like a human is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Maybe just
better than a human.
Yeah, better than a human, making a more safe environment on the roads, but also still being a little bit aggressive in some manners. So you're not stuck in the middle of the highway at 20 miles per hour because the car is scared about moving forward.
Right.
It's a tough call. It could also, another place where my mind goes is it might just be the factor of who we are in this day and age and how we've grown up. We've all grown up in the back seats of our parents' cars, driving down the road in this old hunky aluminum frame with maybe a window switch. At least some people grew up with a nice little lever to move up and down the window. And so
the actual rolling up your window.
Exactly. And so to effectively say you don't have to drive anymore, like you don't have to worry about having a driver anymore, you can't just get in and it takes you, is definitely, it's frightening, especially for people like my mother who gets in and I show her full self-driving in its capacity right now. She's just like, I don't like that. I'm just going to drive the vehicle as it is. So it could just be our generation. My wife and I speculate about this as well with how future generations might be. Like maybe my children will still be driving vehicles, but their children might be that generation where they don't need a license. They don't want a license. They don't care about it. They'll just take the robo-taxi to work or the train or something like that. They don't want to worry about having to re-up their license every so many years and worry about points on their license if they keep on doing delinquent actions on the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It would be interesting, or at least I hope that there is the benefit that FSD or version 10 or whatever it is it's going to be called when it comes, is it going to be the big leap that everyone's looking for? Maybe. Is it going to be the end game? No. AI Day showed that there's still, or not AI, yeah, AI Day showed there's going to be leaps and bounds in this thing for years and years to come. It's going to take a while to get there, especially with like a robot that can walk on the road with the same tech, or same road, same sidewalk, I guess. But yeah, I guess to sum it up, I hope things get better, but at the same time, there's always going to be a pushback, and that's okay because we still need to keep things in check.
I think most of the people that would have doubts about trusting it or had bad experience with it in the past probably aren't going to put much money towards it in the future. Like if you have that kind of skeptic attitude towards it, why would you drop $200 a month or $10,000 up front? So I could see that demographic of people just not caring or not having much interest, but I do think the public perception of it can change pretty quickly. You know, I always think back about how I used to be driven around by my parents as a kid all the time, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, I'm in the car, I'm rolling around. Now, if you drive with your parents, you're like, oh my God, they're going way too fast, or they're braking way too hard, or they're making all these mistakes. It's like, it's all changed because you've now gotten used to your own driving. You've gotten your own style down. You've gotten comfortable with how you drive. So when you finally get back in with your parents' cars, my parents drove me around for, 15, 16 years, and I never thought anything of it. I never was in the car thinking, oh, they're driving dangerously. Now, if I do, I'm like, whoa, okay, hold on. Why are we going so fast? Why are we braking so hard? Why are we, you have your own preferences put in place. So I think that naturally will make people resist any type of vehicle that they're not in control of. Doesn't matter how good it is, even if it's proven to be 1,000% safer than a human driver, people will still likely be uncomfortable with it, at least initially. There's just a certain level of trust that takes time and consistency, and we haven't had much of that yet because Mike and Randy are driving software that basically has remained untouched in terms of autonomy for like several years now. They've basically given it the basic lane keep and the radar measurements, and it's that version of autonomy that we saw at Autonomy Day in 2019, and all the people in the beta and what Tesla is looking at and what Elon is prototyping on his car is all this completely new approach, like a single stack with vision only, and taking kinetics into a neural net and training that. So I think that what Elon is talking about is because he's seeing something totally different from what the public is seeing, which is why this beta button is so impactful, and I think that's why so many people are excited for it, because
exciting is the right word. To be excited for it is the right word. I think I am as critical as I am with my criticism because I bought it outright. It's not a subscription.
Mm-hmm.
Even with all my doubts and hesitations, I will still put money towards it because I believe in it. But the fact that I bought FSD outright over 2 years ago, and I have nothing to show for it. It puts a little bit of a sour taste on my tongue. That I'm like, I mean, like Mike said, if I got in an accident right now, I have been in an accident. If my car got totaled, I'm screwed about my FSD, and that's disheartening. And that's the price you also pay for being an early adopter with this stuff, and I accept that too. But it's all about excitement because it's like this hype up is like you guys as in the team in Elon is dangling in front of our face like this future that they get to play around with in their controlled environment, and I have to sit over here like a jackass wondering why I am getting flagged for all these things that I can't control when I go into FSD or enhanced autopilot, why I paid the price I did for FSD, and I get no updates and stuff like that. Like I don't even get excited for like I have an update pending on my car right now, and I've purposely not connected to Wi-Fi to push it because like I'm just like screw it. No, I checked Twitter like, oh, has the button rolled out? No, munch me. I'm just gonna use it to go to and from. So I'm just kind of burnt. I'm burnt out with the 2 weeks thing. It's funny as hell, but it's also so annoying. And it's like, okay, I'll wait, and I still trust that they are doing great things behind the scenes, but the constant dangling, like, this is people's money we're playing with, so to say. As a spectator, it's cool, and I live in that, but as an investor, as someone who gave you, 6,000, and some people did pay the full 10,000, it's, you're like, okay, the joke's kind of dry now, ran its course, let's see it, 2 weeks, and I do trust that what they're working with that we don't have, that what me and Mike don't have, I do trust it does address a lot of those issues, like maybe moving to the left a little bit if this truck on the right coming through is kind of going into my lane. So drive like a human, as I was saying, is that like, well, if they're going over my lane a little bit, then maybe if it's safe on my left side, maybe I should move over just a little bit or just change lanes altogether. But input equals error, right, Elon? So if I have to be the one that hits the gear stock or I have to take control, you screwed up. And that's the part where it's like, yeah, well, I'm running some dated FSD anyway, so I get that. And I do believe what they're working with addresses all of it. But my God, people have lives to live, and people are commuting, and some of them got to send traffic and all that stuff. It would be nice to have something, and legalities aside and all these things that is making people wait, maybe just be honest with your communication with us. Be a little bit more transparent. I'm okay if you're saying it's taking time. If it's all this that you promised to be, just because it looks, it looks good to keep that hype going, I get it, but just be honest about where we're at in the development of it, because it gets annoying when I can anticipate the flaws of my Model 3 about what's about to happen. I'm like, it's not even worth going to an FSD anymore. I'm just gonna take control. I'm just gonna do cruise control, because I can anticipate what my own car's issue is about to be. No amount of bugs or updates fix that. I get a cool UI, I get all these things, but addressing the core, computer factor of it is. I know my car better than anybody else at this point, so it already feels like a human's driving it, because it is flaws and all. So
I see it as a bit of a perfect storm, because Elon is obviously an overly optimistic person on timelines and what can be achieved, but I think he wouldn't have achieved what he has achieved if it weren't for that. If he was trying to be more pessimistic and realistic, he probably wouldn't attempt all these things, because he'd be like, no, that's so incredibly hard, how could you possibly figure that out? Sure. So you have someone who has accomplished a lot, who is obviously very optimistic on timelines, and I don't think he's lying, but I do think he genuinely believes any timeline he says. Like,
sure.
when he talks about 2 weeks or talks about the beta button, he probably does think, oh, this is great, I'm so impressed with it, I bet we can iron out the kinks. But because literally no one has ever attempted this type of software rollout before, no one's come anywhere close, and even when it comes to other beta software that other companies may experiment with, like Microsoft or Apple, it's never been with this high a risk.
Yeah.
We've never been prototyping beta software that's like, well, if we screw up, people could actually die. That's kind of a major software beta development to be in. So you have this perfect storm of super duper high risk. So you probably have a ton of liability people at Tesla saying, holy crap, don't release this at all. And you have likely a huge engineering team that's saying, like, the more we roll this out, the way more data we can use to train the neural net, and people will be excited, people will be happy. We could even argue that if we roll out this button, sales of FSD are going to skyrocket. We're going to get way more revenue if we roll this out. So there's financial incentive from engineering team, liability panic from the legal team. Elon, of course, saying, looks good to me, I bet we can do this, even though it might be working great specifically for him where he is, but maybe not great in Michigan or maybe not great in Utah and that kind of thing. So it's like, I understand your frustration, because I would have it too if I was in your shoes, and I can't even fathom the frustration of people that paid $10,000 and they're still waiting. Yeah. Or even saw people in my EV stream this week saying that they got FSD on a lease on a Model 3 in 2018, and they had to trade in their car.
I would be so mad.
they had to lose it, even though they paid extra for it, and they never got that feature. So I'm like, I totally get all of the frustrations, but at the same time, I have no clue how they could do this better.
I agree. I hear you, and I agree that uncharted territory, it's wild, wild west.
Maybe if Elon just didn't tweet at all, maybe that would be better. I don't know.
I like to just keep my expectations in check.
Yeah.
Kind of like iPhones, right, guys?
Yeah, somewhat. I do think it's funny that you're complaining about 2 weeks, as on the day we're recording this is literally 2 weeks from when Elon said the beta will drop.
And you best
Legit.
bet when we're done here, I'm going to go to my car and check the
14
update.
days. He said beta 10 would drop
days to
today,
get the beta.
and 10.1 would be 2 weeks from Friday, which is today. So it's funny to me that Randy's like, I'm getting sick of all the 2 weeks thing. And I'm like, also, Randy, did you know that it should drop it? I know you're sick of that, but it's actually 2 weeks this time. I mean, it's kind of fun to know what their target is, even if it's wrong all the time. It's kind of
I'm in on the
interesting
meme. I mean, I'm the punchline of the meme. So at the end of the day, I laugh at myself all the time. So at that point, it's fine. But it's just,
I guess it's kind of nice to know,
dry.
like, don't expect it before that point, right? Like, at least it's not any
that's
day.
one way of
It's
looking
not
at it.
any day now.
Unless
We
it's
could,
Model Y
if he wasn't
deliveries.
tweeting at all, we could be like, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week. At least when he says 2 weeks from Friday, we know, okay, it definitely won't be before that day. So
Yeah, we're not going to talk
you know,
about
if
it for
it-
at least 2 weeks. And here we are 2
Yeah.
weeks later. Elon.
pretty much. So I see it as this perfect storm of headache and frustration. But I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, if Elon wasn't so optimistic, this wouldn't be happening at all. And if Tesla was very high in their risk appetite, they'd be rolling this out a year ago, and there'd probably be a few deaths reported or some crazy accidents. So
Maybe I'm a
like,
sympathetic person in this sense, but I would do something as for the customers who leased a Model 3 and did not get FSD. I would offer something to them. Just
one-time vehicle transfer.
Something like if not, I don't know, give them a year free. They did it for the premium connectivity. We got a year free for it. Do
Yeah.
something on the subscription model then where like it's just it's such a jerk move to be like, oops, my bad. All that's money that was wasted. Like the data didn't do anything for those guys if they didn't get, or I guess it didn't pay its dividends for the buyers who were on leasing. But just to play devil's advocate and make light of the situation, you guys are fools for doing leasing. Never lease a vehicle. That's rule number one. That's terrible. That's terrible. I don't lease my
think you mean
tech and I don't lease my
fleecing.
cars. That is terrible. So
What'd you say, Nick?
I think you mean fleecing, in the words of the ever so wise Mr. Dave Ramsey.
Oh, fleecing.
fleecing.
Huh.
Hey, what did Dave
I
Ramsey
haven't
say
heard
about
of that.
fleecing?
Oh, leasing is like putting fleece over your eyes because the companies are screwing you so bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, those people got screwed, but also if you're leasing a vehicle, you don't care about your money very much. In the
Exactly.
First place, so it's
You definitely don't.
You like getting screwed if you lease a vehicle.
you like getting screwed. You kind of bought into that, but yeah, I actually think the changes to the referral program, referring a car and getting a few weeks or a month of FSD out of it, could be beneficial to all parties. I think it would, when Tesla gives out a referral and someone uses it, a lot of people were pointing out in my video, it's not just $70 they miss out on with the supercharging miles. It's also both parties got that. So $140 potential of revenue that Tesla had to pay the money for with charging is lost every time a referral is used. And there was an annoying amount of people saying $70 is cheaper than a marketing department. And I was like, it's not a one time. There's like, how many freaking referrals have been used? I think someone calculated it like $30-40 million. It's not like it's not nothing, but the FSD, if you start giving that away, it costs nothing for Tesla. They basically just send out the code, and the only potential loss is someone not paying for FSD. But still, I think that if you gave someone a couple weeks of it and they were using it and they appreciated it, and then you take it away, that makes them more inclined to be like, man, that was really nice. I want to use its features
That
again.
dopamine hit.
Subscribe. Yeah, you give them a taste, basically. If every
I
referral
need
gave
more.
someone the 2 weeks would be perfect. Give them 2 weeks of FSD, and they love it so much they want to buy it outright or they want to subscribe to it. So it's like give you a little bit.
As long
you're
as
hooked.
they're not like, oh, put this towards solar. Like, I don't like that to be my option. That's a terrible option.
What would you like changed in the referral program, Mike?
That's a great question.
I want to get a
You think it's
roadster
perfect?
every time one person uses my referral code. That's what I want
You
changed.
both get a roadster.
We both get a
Yeah, maybe a counter for like how many roadsters and Ys/3s or whatever that they've given out. That'd be nice. It's not like it's not a direct benefit
good point.
to the referral person, but at least they know something's happening. Because I think we discussed this when you were here, Drew. Like, we have no clue who's gotten Model Ys every month. Like, we have no clue. That's not really...
Tesla Raj reported one of them, but that was about it.
Yeah, that was like months ago or like a year ago or something like that. We have no clue.
long time ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe a little bit of transparency there. If we're talking about, like, Elon being transparent on Twitter all the time, maybe
Right.
Tesla can be a little more transparent on who's getting the... Or maybe not who, but, like, at least here's how many we've given away and on these dates or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
That'd be nice. But in terms of, like...
And why are they so quiet? How come the people who win Model Ys aren't saying anything?
I don't know.
Maybe they're
They
just
just take 'em.
Joe Schmoes who don't do social media like that. It's
Yeah.
possible.
Oh, come on.
Or they
Oh,
tweet
come
it
on.
out
Everyone
and
who
no
owns
one...
a Tesla has a YouTube channel.
I was going to say maybe they do, but, like, it's just not highlighted. Like, think of the amount of tweets that you see in a given day, and that's not even, like, a fraction. It's not even a fraction of a fraction.
True.
It's a very small...
You just think
decimal.
that would get more attention.
You would think.
It should be praised or awarded, like, surprise celebration.
Yeah,
Or the other option is just they're not doing them
yeah.
and they're not telling
Maybe they're
people.
just not. But in,
Or they're giving them to employees.
yeah, I'd say in terms
that
of, like...
would be crooked.
That'd be a bummer.
That would be
Yeah.
disgusting. I refuse to think that, but that's because that's too McDonald's monopoly, type of scam. That would hurt my feelings so hard.
That would be bad.
Yeah,
I just honestly for referrals, I would just like the idea of being able to transfer the miles. If I want to give them to my wife, put it to to give it to a different account. That would be nice. I would like that option, so I don't feel so. No! Don't use mine. Use his. No! Don't use his. Use her. I just.
But yeah, do
easy.
giveaways on YouTube or Twitter
Something.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
a
cool.
weird cryptocurrency. I'll give you my Tesla miles.
My Tesla coin.
Yeah.
Why not? They just use all the power walls to mine crypto.
But yeah, being able to like convert it to, or like give it to another user, or even like maybe at a cost, right? You give them 100, but then like it's actually 90 or whatever. Like
Yeah,
Tesla
they
takes
take a little
10 of
cut
it.
every time you move it.
Yeah, so that way
That'd be
it
fine.
can't be like infinite
I think it's
or
fair.
whatever.
Yeah.
But or maybe just like converting it to like what you said, FSD for a month, or I think you mentioned in one of your recent videos, like being able to convert it to, I don't know,
Apple
like
Cash?
buying Apple Cash. That'd be interesting.
Money.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cashback.
Maybe buying a shirt on the Tesla shop or something like that. Like, oh, you've amassed
Ooh.
The
3,000 miles. Yeah, you amassed
There you
3,000
go.
miles. Go buy yourself something at the Tesla shop.
Gift card points. Woo!
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
To be honest, that's
Should
when I
Tesla
would get
make
the
a credit
I would
card?
get the acceleration boost that way if it was through referrals and you got some type of gift card money. I would get acceleration boost at that point because then it's like, I'm not paying for it.
They already made a card.
You know what I'm saying? They could.
It's a black
Tesla
card.
should
I'm
make
all
a credit
over this.
card
Ooh.
where you get, I don't know, 3% back on all Tesla purchases and supercharging miles are 5% off or something. And the card you use to pay for things is also the key to the vehicle. so you can
Yes.
unlock the car with it, but also spend money with it.
Yes,
The
actually.
best card is one car.
I was about to say no, Tesla shouldn't waste their time doing a credit card, but as soon as you said one card to rule them all, I was on board. Spend and unlock. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, like you get
Called
money
Apple
back
Pay.
through Tesla. If you're the type of person you're going to be spending a lot on supercharging miles, like right, that's the companies who make credit cards. Is know they
Yeah.
have recurring customers.
Well, and there's plenty of
So-
gas cards out there that are
Oh, sure.
specifically designed for 3% back on gas purchases.
Joke's on
from
you.
this.
There's an annual fee for the Tesla card.
It's
Well, if it gave you better
it's a
rates or
monthly
something,
fee if
like,
you fleece it.
doesn't VW if you please doesn't VW have like a Electrify America pass? There's like a premium option, I believe, that gives you better rates on charging.
Perhaps.
Like if Tesla did something like that, where it's like, okay, it's $100 a year, but you'll save so many $100 of supercharging costs each year. So if you're a diehard Tesla fan, you can use it, and then of course Tesla will get a fee every time you spend it anywhere else. And credit cards seem to be somewhat profitable for lots of other companies. So if Tesla's manufacturing all these cards for their cars anyway, might as well build some more features into that accessory and
Just put a chip in it.
Make
and
some
now
money through
you
it.
can use it at gas pumps and stores
And take it
models.
to the DMV, and they can print your license on the other side.
ooh, I like this
And,
because
is a
and
powerful
Apple
card.
AirTags can be built right into it, and then you never lose it. Wow.
when you buy things, you get supercharged.
Ooh,
Get it?
I get
it's
it.
almost like
I
a super
get it.
chat. Could you buy a super chat with your supercharge card?
Yes, technically, it's a normal credit card, so it could be made of Starship steel.
Oh,
no,
my
it's a
gosh!
heat
I
shield
think I
tile.
need to go change
your pants?
something. Yeah,
It's a heat shield tile material.
yeah, that's not going
very
to work.
fragile.
Ceramic card.
Don't look at that the wrong way.
Oh.
I could see something like that working. I'm a Tesla Plaid member,
I already have a ceramic
Yeah.
card right here,
Ooh,
Ooh,
ooh.
that's cool.
except it's a tile.
Good luck sticking it into the credit card reader at the grocery store.
Yeah, if we're talking about software services and Tesla being ahead of the game with companies, I see no downsides to this.
I do. I see
I'll
a
throw
few.
that out.
I
See
mean,
many.
it's distraction from their primary goal, which is to accelerate humanity's transition to renewable energy. So it's a slight detour. Yeah, whatever.
It doesn't
It's
take
still a
anything
detour.
away from that. It's
Now-
not like the people working at
okay.
the battery facility are gonna stop working so they can fix the credit card manufacturing. That's
No,
not-
but it's
that's like
all
a
about
totally
focus.
separate.
What
You
is the critical
basically
path
hire
to the
some
mission?
Former banking people. It probably costs you $1 million.
Just hire
and you make
four-
10 million.
Hire 4 fools who do a podcast on EV and have them do all the concept. And
Yeah,
there you
we'll
go.
do it. I'll
There
do
you
it
go.
for free.
There you go.
Okay, well,
I'll
hire
quit
3 people
my
then, because
job.
I'm
only
not
only
doing
if you
it
give
for
me a
free.
bunch of old Starship steel Teslas so that I can make these cards out of Starship stainless steel, because that's what sold me. That would be amazing.
Former pieces of SN.
Yeah,
10.
exploded 7s and 8s.
The credit
Just
card
put a
is
mag
just all
stripe and a
like
chip.
yeah, just on the piece of messed up steel. It's all like
I
mangled.
mean, they're
and-
already. They've got to be buying these cards for their keys anyway by
Mhm.
now. Whoever's manufacturing them, just ask them, can you slap some other crap on there while you're at it? Build it into the Tesla app.
Let me put it in
Stop
my Apple
flexing.
wallet and we're
Stop
good.
He's got a
flexing,
prototype.
Mike.
Mike's got our. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
He can't
now he's-
flex the tech.
He's literally flexing.
Nah.
They made him out
Okay.
of,
Wow.
No, that card's OP. Whatever that card would be, that's able to pay for things, open your car, have your license on it, and whatever
It does your
else.
taxes.
Yeah. That's a lot of, I'd say
if
it's
they
a lot
could
of
prove
dog
that you'd
everywhere.
save money through supercharging with that card, yeah, I think a ton of people would
Yeah,
sign
but then
up, even
that
if it costs
increases
money.
the complexity of superchargers.
How? No, you still just plug in.
Well,
This-
you wouldn't have to set up your account with your credit card information to begin with.
You could You can set up.
I'm now more confused. Are you pressing the card to the Tesla Arch supercharger?
No,
or
no,
are
no,
you
no.
putting it
It's
into
tied
it's
to
in
your
your
account.
account.
They
It's in
know
your
you're-
account.
Well,
You're
if you don't wanna
verified
make
as
an
a
account.
Tesla. Well, you wouldn't be able to drive the. You need an account to own the car, don't you?
Drew's just having a problem over here.
What if you have a Mach-E and you charge a supercharger in the next few months?
Oh, well, we can make it so it doesn't work for them. That's fine. This is a walled garden Elon loves so much, I'm sure.
Did somebody
I mean,
say
it's-
wall?
I still personally think that the supercharging third-party access should be a separate app. Like, it's a whole
Yes.
separate account
Yes.
for non-Tesla owners.
And
It's
the app
easier
should
if you
be
are a
worse
Tesla
than the
owner.
main Tesla app.
You have to like press a bunch of buttons that keep moving, and you accidentally press order Tesla every time. You're like, start
no,
charge
no, no,
session. Oops, did you just order a Model 3? We picked it out for you. You know,
It's coming in
You
8
just-
months.
yeah. I think they could make that app a big ad that you have to navigate through. But Tesla credit card. I'm sold.
Yep. There we go.
I'm a Plaid member.
Ooh, Plaid membership or like other memberships.
Yeah, it's like
Huh.
under certain lighting, you can see the plaid gradient. It's
Ooh.
like slightly reflective with the plaids.
And it kind of
Almost
zooms
like-
in as you move it a little.
Yeah.
Mm.
Ooh, a carbon fiber card would also be cool.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of reflective.
Man,
This is a good idea.
that's a great idea.
Tesla Bank.
Tesla
You
Bank.
put your money.
Elon just gets back
Hey,
into
where have
it.
I heard this before?
He's already before with PayPal.
how about
it's the return of PayPal?
If you're a Tesla Plaid member, there's no order fee when you order a new car.
That's $1,200, something like that.
It's $250 now, non-refundable.
$250. Okay.
But you could bypass that if you're already paying them annually, because they're like, yeah, we got your money. Who cares?
And you already
We're just
owe us
happy you're
money.
buying a new car.
Yeah, that's true. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
Elon,
Elon, get on
I'm
it.
giving you these ideas.
I'll have
2
to tweet
weeks.
him
Let's.
because we know he responds to all of my tweets.
That's correct.
Make a nice render
Nick
of the
will get
Tesla
a-
credit
get a
card.
hold of him.
Then that'll probably get his attention.
Mm.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Alrighty, closing thoughts, gents.
I'm not worried about the Rivian anymore.
Hey,
There you go.
You should be.
316
Probably
and
should be.
315, right? I think is the R1T and R1S.
14. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
you're
not
1
really
mile
worried.
off, but
I'm looking forward to deliveries, though. I'm still worried about Lucid because it's still nothing.
yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I hope they get their act together. We need some actual EPA numbers from Lucid. That would be nice. Please.
I'm still waiting on those numbers from Nikola. They haven't come yet.
It's infinite because it just goes downhill. Best
Oh, Lordy.
EPA
Oh,
range
Lordy.
ever. It can drive on an empty tank.
Wow.
Alrighty, folks. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. Take care.
Bye.